Hello, everyone. I apologize for being just a couple of minutes late. Um, Hopefully everything shows up all right. Give me just a moment. I just want to make sure that I'm streaming all right everywhere. And then we will get into week 6 of our business talk. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? For um, those of you that Thanksgiving, our Thanksgiving was really good. It was a little on the busy side. Let me switch earbuds. I apologize. I haven't been feeling the best with my prednisone. Um, but being autistic, I need the sensory stimulation um, of having something going on in my ear. Um, so I apologize. And I'm still on my Sail North music kick. And so that's actually what's going to be in my ear. Maybe. Maybe that will be what's in my ear if Amazon cooperates. I left my keyboard on. Not that I really need my keyboard right now. I do need my mouse though. Um, all right. And let me just make sure that my stream on Twitch is doing all right. Perfect. I am bringing up Facebook on my computer. I gotta figure out how to make it so that everybody can see. I can clearly send it to one at a time. Okay. Add to my post. Are you going to let me add to the post? No? Okay. Okay. Double check. One. What is? Let me toss this real quick on my normal profile just so I can share it. I apologize. I know I'm getting slow to get started. I don't work very often off of my Facebook, like actual thing. I want to create. I just want to get through my pages. Because right now it'll just be faster. That's why. Down. 3, 4, 5, 6 is live stream. Paper mix. You can find me here or on Twitch. All right. Thank you so much for bearing with me, everybody. I apologize uh, for the delay, the whatever. Um, I, as we all know, I do also try to listen to the feedback from um, at least one of my streams. So that's what I'm setting up right now. Um, because I'm also trying to make sure that I'm like within the camera range and that you guys can see me just fine. Um, this is a fairly new setup for me, so I'm still trying to get things all figured out uh, and kind of make it so that I see what's going on. Um, but good evening and welcome to the boss level. Navigating burdensome bureaucracy and red tape. I like to call this chapter the paper maze, how to hack that bureaucracy. Um, and this is going to be your guide on not getting lost in the regulatory wilderness. We've talked about money, customers, terrible Wi Fi, but this week we're going to tackle the monster that can truly crush your soul paper, paperwork, piles, and piles of soul crushing, unnecessary, and utterly confusing paper. It's not a suggestion. This is a survival manual because that's what operating a small business in this environment feels like. You're not an entrepreneur, you're a modern day thesis lost in a maze, and the Minotaur, that would be the clerk who decided that your perfectly filled out form needed to be notarized on a Tuesday at 3:17 p.m. Sound like a fun dilemma? Also, if something like that ever happens, I do have a couple of notary friends that I do know who I'm sure would not be upset about the occasional extra fun. So this subtitle says it all. This is truly a guide to not getting lost in the regulatory wilderness. Let's be honest, the regulatory wilderness is where common sense goes to die. It's where you spend a month and the small fortune just to get a permit that says that you're allowed to turn the lights on. You could perfectly capture this beautiful chaos of bewilderment. So, yeah, that is hopefully the picture that I painted for you. That is the picture that I envisioned with this. All right. So let's talk about our guide for not getting lost in the regulatory wilderness. Because this is how to navigate compliance when you can't afford a legal Sherpa. My fellow adventurers, if our last slide felt like getting mugged by a pothole, well, prepare yourselves for a journey into the truly terrifying, the regulatory wilderness. This is where dreams go to get buried under mountains of paperwork and where fines reproduce faster than rabbits in spring. All right. Our first bullet point is talking about your taxes. I know taxes are never fun. So, first, your essential survival kit. We're gonna triage your taxes and licenses. Look, I know how it feels like the government is just intervening or inventing hoops, sorry, for you to jump through, but every single license. Sorry, I was making sure that I didn't, get any, messages. I apologize. I will also be looking at my slide on a different screen on occasion just because I am struggling to see my little bullet points. Um, so I'm just doing making it so that, uh, I can see everything and not have to fight with anything. Um, script on one side, PowerPoint on another. All right. So I know that it feels like the government is just inventing hoops for you to jump through, but every single license, every permit, every tax filing, that's not just bureaucracy. That's your insurance policy against a financial Armageddon. Think of a $50 license fee versus a $500 fine for operating without one. Which one sounds more palatable? Exactly. So in this, we are truly going to get down to the nitty-gritty of how our bureaucracy tends to chip away at our business, our confidence, and all of that. So for those of us in economically disadvantaged areas, these penalties aren't a slap on the wrist. They're a punch to the gut that sends you back to square one. Your education point here is critical. You need to identify your absolute non-negotiable compliance terms. What are 2 to 3 things that if you miss them will shut you down or bankrupt you? Local business license, sales tax permit, health code certification. Figure it out. Then use free tools. Google Calendar your phone's reminders to set up automated quarterly check-ins. And don't let a late renewal turn your thriving business into a ghost town. Not sexy, but if it keeps the lights on. So our next one is the unfunded mandate funhouse. We're going to be talking about compliance on a shoestring and how delightful regulations written for Fortune 500 companies are. But they also expect that same from your mom and pop shop that's just trying to make ends meet. It's like asking a squirrel to build a skyscraper. The temptation to ignore it, but that's one way ticket to Fine City. Oops, sorry, I'm still adjusting my screen a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that I can see my PowerPoint bullet points without covering up entirely my Facebook because I want to make sure that I'm streaming fine. Oops, there we go. I apologize. I'm a whole mess today. Hopefully, now that I kind of have this somewhat figured out, um, that will help. Oh, hmm. Hopefully, you guys can see that just fine. Um, I apologize. I had to resize it, and yeah, I had to resize it for my thing so I can see. Um, so I apologize. Hope I'm doing all right here. See if I can get this to where it like isn't messing too much with the ratio on. I'm sorry, guys. I guess I should have messed with this a little bit better earlier. There we go. Okay. I wanted to make it so you guys could see while I was still um trying to make it so that I can see some of my bullet points. Um, just because last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago, my script on my slides had somehow gotten messed up, and so I'm trying to make sure that I prevent it by double checking um, my with my PowerPoint. So I apologize. Um, okay, so here we go. We're now going to talk about the financial pitfall. Things like minimum wage compliance, basic safety standards, you know, OSHA, or even accessibility requirements. These aren't suggestions, they carry heavy penalties. But here's the secret: your free legal Sherpas are your local small business development centers and government resource websites. Seriously, these places are designed to help you navigate this labyrinth. They translate the regulatory gibberish into plain English. Don't pay a lawyer $300 an hour to tell you what the IRS or your state's Commerce Department already publishes for free. Leverage those resources. Your life raft, they're your life raft in this bureaucratic ocean. All right, so now we're going to talk about embracing the digital bureaucracy. It's your only escape. Finally, this might sting after our last slide. You need to embrace the digital bureaucracy because it's our only escape as small business owners. Yes, I know that we just talked about how slow or how terrible slow internet is, but when it comes to compliance, digital is your best friend. Why? Because most crucial forms, taxes, renewals, certifications, now all have online portals. Not to mention, if you work in a service business such as a landscaper, a contractor, or a roofer, all of your permits also go through a portal. The key education here is filing online gives you an instant time-stamped confirmation that you submit, and there's your proof. This helps you avoid mailing deadlines. There's no more "is the check in the mail" excuses, and often the system itself will flag any errors before you can even submit them. That's right. This is like a built-in compliance assistant, preventing fines. So stop wrestling with paper forms and waiting for snail mail. Even a simple free cloud storage service can help you keep your records organized, auditable, and accessible, because when the taxman or the inspector calls, having your data trapped in a damp, disorganized shoebox is just asking for more trouble. So yes, the regulatory wilderness is intimidating, but with a little bit of smart triage, leveraging free resources, and embracing the digital tools available, you absolutely can navigate it without or more importantly, without getting hit with a fine that cripples your business. Let's make sure that your hard work goes into growth and not into penalties. All right. So we are now going to talk about the cost of compliance and why we don't want to drown in paperwork. So, welcome to the deep end, everyone. This slide is titled Drowning in Paper, which actually is a gentle way of saying welcome to the bureaucratic torture chamber. This is where your dreams go to die a slow administrative death. Our first bullet point is terrifyingly accurate. A complex and opaque regulatory environment can stifle entrepreneurs before they even get the opportunity to open their doors. And just to tell you guys, like, I got married, and trying to get, like, my business name just changed over has been absolutely insane. They found tons of, small little errors, like, my FEIN. While I thought when I was filing for it that I had filed under a single member LLC, somehow I selected a sole proprietor, which is literally just one click down. That made me have to get a whole new FEIN. It is that simple to make a mistake, and it's not always mistakes that can be caught by the system because it's user error, not, the system's error. So it is a hostile environment, a legal minefield designed by people who've never had to choose between a business license fee and buying inventory. It's a maze, and every single twist, turn, and opaque requirement is a deliberate attempt to wear you down. They only want the people who can quickly gain their profits to be the ones to succeed. And this leads directly to the core injustice. These burdens, which can amount to thousands of dollars, are a disproportionate challenge for those with limited capital. For the big guys, the high fees and the consultants that they have to hire to fill out a 500-page application are just a rounding error. For you, though, a small entrepreneur in an economically disadvantaged area who's operating on razor thin margins and is already struggling with access to capital, this isn't a fee, it's a shutdown notice. It is the difference between keeping your doors open or keeping your life savings. And what is the result? The final depressing bullet point is what that is. It's a lack of clear guidance and standardized procedures that can force small businesses to give up altogether. The system is so confusing, so deliberately non-user friendly that you have to have a lawyer just to open a coffee shop. It's not about making sure that you're compliant. It's about setting a trap that only the well-funded can afford to escape from. It's a tragedy, and it's time that we talk about how to stop accepting this administrative cruelty. Alright, so now we get into some of my favorite parts. I really enjoy getting into our deep dived action steps. Um, and this week we're gonna be talking about not just surviving. Alright, now that we've all agreed that the government is actually actively trying to make us cry, how do we hack the system? We don't try to outrun it, we strategize. The first step is obvious but critical. Identify relevant regulations. You can't fight what you don't understand, but here's the inside track. You need to prioritize local over federal. Everyone stresses about the IRS, but what is actually going to shut your doors? The local health inspector, the zoning board, or the fire marshal. So here's one thing that I really highly suggest that you guys do. Most states will have like a one-stop business website. In Pennsylvania, it's called One Stop Shop Business. um, I really enjoy it. They do full compliance checklists. So, like, you can run through your business, you can let them know what type of business you have or are starting, and they will give you a basic outline of some of the more common regulations that you will need to look for, some of the common permits and zoning. Um, and so it's really nice. One of these days, if you guys would like, I can kind of run through and give you a bit of a behind the scenes of that just so you guys can kind of see what it's like. But now we're gonna get into our little bit of education because I have to add some education and statistics and all that fun stuff. Most local and regional nonprofits, like the Small Business Development Center, have consolidated simple checklists for what your town or county requires. They are literally paid to cut through this crap for you. And just to give you an example of that in action, so my husband is working on opening up a landscaping business. He is an experienced landscaper, has done landscaping for quite some time. Um, he, took a break from it after having my middle child. And so he, wants to do something that he enjoys. And I am a botanically demanding person, I will tell you that. I love orchids and hard flowers to take care of, the tropical stuff. Uh, I always have a garden every year. Uh, if my house could be a jungle, I would. My husband would probably murder me at that rate. But he also does literally all the landscaping, the mowing, the weeding, the grass cutting, all of it. All of it. The hedge trimming, that's his domain. I deal with the plants inside and in the garden. He deals with the rest. But working with Panther Labworks, um, Elena, she went ahead and sent me over an entire file of things that I would need to make sure that we had before Chris started up his business. Um, and so that was super helpful because that meant that I didn't have to go and try to register my husband's business quite yet as a new business with the state because we weren't quite ready for that. But it did allow me to make sure that we were in compliance long before we were ready to take that step. And this is a great way to help you plan. So then you must create a digital compliance log. I know, another spreadsheet, but this one is your freedom. Every license, every renewal date in a Google Sheet. That way, when the internet inevitably goes down, your offline floods or your office floods. Good Lord. I don't know why my mind is still stuck on the internet week. But yes, let's try that again. That way, when the internet inevitably goes down or your office floods, thank God, your survival manual is safe in the clouds. You're transforming the paper maze into a predictable digital checklist. Um, and the wonderful thing is you can keep all of your compliance documents all in one folder on your like Google Drive or your cloud. You don't have to have another external hard drive like I do set up just for your business. But that doesn't hurt either. As many backups as you can create of everything in as many places as possible always ensures that you are set up for success no matter who's coming, um, what they're asking for, and um, the challenges. There we go. That may be faced. So here's your secret weapon. Stop paying a lawyer for $100. Stop paying a lawyer $100 an hour to tell you what form to fill out. You are not alone. Federally funded organizations like SBDCs and SCORE exist to give you free expert one-on-one mentorship. They will sit with you, they will interpret the jargon, and personally help you create that digital compliance log. You get world-class consulting for the price of nothing. This is the government money that is actually supposed to help you, so use it. So here's some of the local resources that I really recommend. So SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives. I also work with SCORE. They're really awesome. You can get local support through SBDCs. It's free consulting. They provide local specific checklists, help navigate state and community level permits and regulations. SCORE will help connect you with experienced professionals for personalized guidance on licenses, taxes, and government forms. Now, the people that SCORE and the SBDC refer you out to, there may be a fee for those people, but working with the SBDC and SCORE themselves is free. Um, SBA Learning Center, I really like this one. This is the Small Business Administration Learning Center. It offers self-paced online courses on legal requirements, business taxes, and government contracting. These are virtual seminars. You can also check for local programs at your local chamber of commerce. They often have free or trial uh, events for non-members. And they also host webinars on local ordinances, tax changes, permit requirements. So look for their business education events. Also, don't forget your local library. Many libraries offer free access to legal databases and host free workshops on business formation and regulatory basics. And I know I still have to work on the putting these resources into a file for everybody. I will be doing that hopefully this coming week. I'm not making promises. It's been really crazy, especially with the holidays. So I really didn't get around to it. But we'll see uh, what I managed to get through this week. All right. So we're going to talk about automating your estate. We've talked about what to do. Now let's talk about how to make it ridiculously easy so you don't have to do it again. You need to embrace template-driven processes. Stop acting like a small business and start acting like a scalable machine. You guys saw this yesterday. If you tuned into my day in the life of an OBM, because I was working on redoing some of my own branding and my husband's branding, and I made a template that I could edit and re-edit over and over, and I saved it. And I saved each copy of it, which is why I like to use the professional software that I do because the template is always there. It's always easy to edit and accessible as I need to no matter what. But this can work for so many things, your spreadsheets, your bills, your compliance, your SOPs, um, scheduling, stuff like that. There's so much. So use simple templates for everything, invoices, basic contracts, employee onboarding forms. This doesn't require expensive software. A free Google Docs or a Canva template cuts down on human error, saves hours of your non-renewable time, and creates a repeatable process, which is the cornerstone of a stable long-term business. And finally, you must automate compliance notifications. You're not a human calendar. Your memory is for your business plan, not for the country's, not for the county's arbitrary filing deadlines. Set up simple recurring reminders in your free Google Calendar or Trello board for every tax filing, license renewal, and permit deadline. That calendar reminder popping up a month in advance is your digital life raft. If the technology seems intimidating, remember this: the resources are there. Organizations like the SBDC and SCORE offer free multilingual assistance to help you set up these very systems. You could also come to a business consultant like me, and we can set them up as well. And so as an online business manager, this is one of the things that I will do. I will sit down and I will help you work through these systems and put them into place for your business. Um, these organizations, like myself, they will literally sit with you and help you create your invoice template and show you how to set up the reminder so you never miss a deadline again. This is how you stop reacting to the bureaucracy and start operating ahead of it. So here's some of the low cost and free options for software and platform that I have for you guys. So for cloud storage, Google Drive is a great option. You can get 15 gigs for free. Um, and you can also get other ones. I pay like $10 a month and I get 2 terabytes. So for me, it seems to be um, worth it. It makes a lot of sense. And I get it with my Google Workspace as well. And so relatively cheaply. I spend $4 a month between my Google Workspace, my Google Voice, and my Google Drive for the business. So it's really not a lot. And this also ensures that my critical compliance logs templates are all accessible online, offline, no matter what. There's a cloud. It transfers from my phone to my computer. It transfers to most of my client stuff. Um, and so it just gives me a little extra sense of freedom. Project management and standard operating procedure management, Trello and Asana are good. So is Monday.com. Um, these offer robust free tiers. They're excellent for creating templates, checklists, complex tasks like onboarding or annual filing, and it turns confusing forms into simple steps. Template design could be Canva or PicMonkey. Canva and PicMonkey both have a robust free tier. PicMonkey has low-cost options that include branding access across platforms. You can use PicMonkey in an app or on your web or on a website. Just like Canva, there is simple drag and drop platforms through PicMonkey for professional-looking invoices, contracts, marketing materials, and eliminating the need for expensive design. One of these days, I will go through and do like a quick PicMonkey tutorial, uh, but I really do enjoy PicMonkey. It's a really cool little program, and I can show you guys some of my branding and that type of stuff. For scheduling and reminders, Google Calendar is a wonderful option, and so is like Calendly, and that type of stuff. They all offer free options, and they're the easiest tools for setting up recurring reminders for compliance deadlines, access permits, licenses to ensure proactivity. All right, guys, we are at our final slide for the week. I actually breezed through this one quite quickly um, with the new setup. I really like this new setup, which is really good because, again, I haven't been feeling good. So I really could use to eat something, and my dinner's upstairs waiting. So um, this is where we go from surviving the bureaucracy to decoding the system. This is the secret weapon, and the subtitle says it all. This is how to stop reacting to bureaucracy and start predicting it. You need to analyze risk and incentive frameworks. You have to understand how the people with the money think. They don't care about your feelings, they care about their number. They make decisions based on risk. Is it riskier for them to not fix your infrastructure because they'll lose the tax revenue? And the incentives. Is there a federal grant that they can get if they can invest in your neighborhood? Look up your area's status. Are you in a hub zone or an opportunity zone? If so, you're already incentivized for investment. This leads to the ultimate hack. Leverage your disadvantaged status. That title isn't a burden, it's a golden ticket. Your status opens doors to grant, low interest loans, and contracts that your counterpart across town won't qualify for. The system is flawed, but you can use its own complexity to your advantage. And here's the most important fact for the night. The hat to put all of this into action, to influence the city council or the utility company, you have to speak their language. Not say the internet is slow. Say lost $500 in revenue in the last month due to 12 documented payment system failures. You then have weaponized data. That numerical data is the fuel for risk-based investment. It's the evidence that they need to justify spending the money to fix the problem. Stop being the victim of red tape and start becoming the strategic asset. So, some of the resources that I have for understanding risk and incentive frameworks, or our HAP, is going to be federal agency websites such as the Small Business Administration. This will provide you detailed eligibility and application requirements for all certification programs, such as the Hub Zone, or the Opportunity Zone. I'm going to send you guys to local economic development websites, such as your city, your county economic development corporation. This is also free, and they incentivize local programs such as tax abatements or revolving loan funds for businesses in targeted areas. I'm going to also send you to the policy think tank webinars. Brookings Institution, Urban Institute, search for community development and opportunity zones. These free webinars and reports offer deep dives into how public money is allocated, helping you understand the underlying decision-making process, along with the SBD and SCORE consulting. Again, absolutely free, and these offer mentors that are often ex-executives who understand government procurement and can help you frame your problems as a risk to the city. Other great low-cost and free resources that you can go to for help is edX, Harvard, TED, Google Coursera, Grow on Air with Google, Google for Entrepreneurs, Zenva Academy, which also offers low-cost free certificates, and they partner with Humble Bundle. And all of these are free or low cost. I'm currently doing an emergency, an emerging markets class on edX through Harvard, and I can get the certificate for just $274 whenever I'm done. So it's really cool to see that there's these awesome low cost resources that will help you get ahead. So as I've already stated, I have not been feeling very well, but I will be hopping off of here shortly. Thank you so much for hopping on here with me, spending the last, like, 45-ish minutes with me. I am now done with my work for the evening. I'm going to go eat, put, dinner away, and I think I'm gonna rest for a little bit. I'm gonna stay out from the office. I'm gonna try to relax and see if I can make myself feel a little better. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. I will definitely be doing more, day in the life of an OBM. Some of them are gonna be really boring because I have to organize files for my own business, and I wanna really give you guys an in-depth idea of some of the aspects of business that I can accompany you guys with or help you with. I will also at some point be clearing out email. Um, and so, you know, I will definitely be showing you guys more of what it looks like to be an online business manager. Um, so I'm here for the journey, and I look forward to seeing everybody later this week. Bye.